Hello and welcome to the Agency Show by Clientjoy. I'm Yash, co-founder and chief executive at Clientjoy. At Clientjoy, we help agencies manage their leads, proposals, contracts, projects, support, invoicing, and payments, the whole nine yards. The Agency Show is our podcast where we invite agency experts and owners who make 7+ figures a year to talk about their problems across their growth, fulfillment, and revenues, and we talk about their journey of solving these problems. If you're an agency owner, this show is for you. So do not forget to hit the subscribe button. In this episode of the Agency Show, we've got Mathew Hunt. He's the founder at Automation Wolf, where he helps B2B businesses in building invisible marketing funnels. He also helps them with demand generation. This conversation is brought to you by Clientjoy. Give this talk a listen if you're looking to leverage online communities to grow your agency business. Hello and welcome to our webinar, a recorded webinar part 2 with Mathew. Thank you for staying with us through the second part as well. I'd like to focus a little bit more on certain specific aspects of generating of leads, right? So apart from building the community and you also spoke about creating content and so on and so forth. Specifically, so let's say, so one of the things that I've seen is more than 70% of an agency's new revenue could come from their existing clients and their referrals. Right?
Yeah.
And so what do you believe, what are some of the things that an agency should do in order to actually maximize on that? Because in those cases, the acquisition cost of the customer is actually near zero, right? It's just about offering a great experience to the client that you have, which you should already do, and then they help you and refer and get another one. So what are some of the things that you would recommend an agency to do to get your their existing clients to recommend future clients?
Yeah, it's great. So I think one is you have to do good work, but once you've done good work, you have to be paying attention for when the win happens, right? So you got to spot the win, right? and so many people don't do that, or usually, particularly if it gets away from you. The owners are usually really good about doing it, but when you spot the win, you have to ask for the referral or the testimonial, et cetera. At that point, you got to strike when the iron is hot, as they say, right? So that's one, is you have to really pay attention when you move the needle for a client and they're really happy. Go right away and get a testimonial, ideally on video. What I like to do as a tactic real quick is I like to get it without people even knowing that I'm getting it. So this is Zoom that we're on. I always do all my calls with my clients on Zoom. I've done it for all my agencies. Like even back in 2010 when no one was doing it, I was using video to do this because I knew there's a lot of power in this communication. And I always record every single call I do, always. So always have record on. That's one. So once someone has a win, I always then just say to them right away, I usually somebody just say, hey, that's really awesome. Can you just tell me what happened, like how it happened? And then I'll say like, what was it like before this? Like, and I just play a little bit like dumb. I call it playing Columbo. So for people who are in North America and grew show, the television show Columbo will know what it's about. Columbo was this bumbling detective who always solved the case by being a little bit like, curious and kind of bumblingly dumb. And so you gotta have to just be like, so what was that like, what before? And, why did that, make a big difference for your business? And then, what's been your experience of working with us compared to previously agencies? And then they tell you, and then you can ask, and you say, what was one thing that ended up surprising you about working with us through this process that you didn't expect? And then they'll say all those things I recorded. And at the end, I'll say, you know what? Would it be okay if I just chopped out that section where you talked about our company and used it as a testimonial video? Because I think it'd be really useful for other people. And then 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, yes, now you got your testimonial video, right?
Because
and you want to get on
video, right? So they'll say yes.
That's right. And then you'll say the next thing, and then the next thing you say is after you get it, you can just then email and say, hey, would you mind if I transcribe little sections out of the video as a written testimonial as well too, and then sent it to you for approval. And they say yes. And they say, oh, would you mind, like, by the way, posting it on Yelp or Google Places or as a LinkedIn recommendation, because you wrote it for them. And all they got to do is like cut and paste.
Yeah.
They're going to say yes. So now you've got this testimonial and recommendation linked to face. And then next, because they've now publicly stated, okay, that they believe in you, it's hard for them to ever say anything bad about you.
Yeah.
So it forces them to be a client longer, and it forces them to buy into you more psychologically. So I'll give you an example of what happens here. Let's say I was like looking at like a Toyota Highlander as like a new family car.
Yeah.
And let's say I had like a family barbecue and my brother comes over and I tell him, hey man, I'm thinking about buying a Toyota Highlander. And then he craps all over and says, don't buy that. That's a crappy SUV. This is what you should buy. I would probably like listen to him and be kind of open to it. However, what if it was a different scenario? My brother comes over. I just finished buying a Toyota Highlander. I told him how I bought it. And he told me, oh, it's a crappy SUV. I would defend it till I was like blue in the face, right? Because I already bought it. So when you capture someone on video and their testimonials go public somewhere, they now have to defend that you are amazing no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And then some of the things that you can do is you can then at that point ask them, hey, is there anyone who looks like you who would want to solve the same problem that you solved? I'd love an like a quick introduction because I'm looking for one more client. It'd be really great. This is what they look like. And make sure you describe what an ideal client looks like for you so that you can actually get the right ones. Because if you leave it up to them, then sometimes they send you people you don't want. And you have to remember, good marketing is not always about attracting. It's also 100% about repelling. You must repel as much as you want to attract if you want to have the perfect business. You can't be all things to everybody. You need to be really clear about who you can help and who you can't help. And so you need to describe to your ideal clients about who an ideal client looks like, right?
Yeah.
What does good look like and what does bad look like? And if you do that, they'll send you the right referrals, and that'll make it more. And it also helps you be able to go for the upsell later because now they've said you're amazing. So when you go to do an upsell or even just increase your prices, you're going to be able to make more money. So there's two things you should always be doing in your agency as well too. Besides this, once you anchor people in, you spot the win, anchor them in, get it documented publicly so they have to defend it. Ask for the referrals. But two more things you should do is you should always be clear about your ascension plan. You should always have a value ladder. There should always be more things that they can buy from you. And it doesn't mean that you need to provide it. You just might need to get some what's called joint venture partners who can offer more services and you can make some money because you own the relationship. You should be able to sell them more things, whether that's through SaaS and software or other services and stuff. One is have more things to sell to them because often if they're already buying from you, they're more likely to buy more stuff from you. And the easiest way to figure it out is to ask them this one question, okay? You ready for the question? This is important.
Yeah.
You ask them, it's a single question. You say, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, what would you happily pay for us to do for you that we're not doing or no one is doing right now, but if they could do it, you would be happy to pay for that thing? And then when you hear that thing, if you can deliver it, whether it's through you or someone else, it is your duty to deliver it to them.
Yeah.
Because there is a frustration and a pain. They just told you what they would pay for. And this is also the power of a community. So if you go back to the previous strategy in phase one, for people who didn't listen to phase one, you should really go ask the phase one, but it talks about building a community. And if you have a large community, the great thing is, this is how many great products and software get built, is they actually run surveys to groups of people and ask them where their pain point is and what they would buy. And even the best companies in the world actually get people to pre-buy it like a Kickstarter before they even build it. They go, oh, what do you want? What's the problem? Cool. Here's the Kickstarter. I'll build it for you, but give me some money first to build it. And then two, I'm going to sell it to the rest of you. Thank you for building my business for me. Right? Yeah. Like you don't need to guess what to build. It's so silly that you should be guessing. You should never guess. You should never build a business until people are willing to give you money for it. Yeah. Never build anything, not a landing page, nothing.
Yeah.
When I built Automation Wolf, I had a beta. I had got 20 clients real quick with nothing. Cold people. They were not warm people. I just cold messaged them on LinkedIn and cold email. I said, this is what I'm doing. if this interests you, I'm running a beta, give me a call back. I want to see if people will call me. The next step was, will they give me some money to do this thing? I go, look, it's new. I've got no website. I've got nothing. But here's what I'm doing. But I'm not going to do it unless people give me money. And I made everyone give me $1,000 a month to start the beta.
Oh, nice.
Right. So I had 20 MRR, 20,000 MRR right out of the gate. And I hadn't built anything yet. It was just an idea.
Yeah. And
then I had to go build it, right? So, and I didn't have a landing page, nothing. So just cool. And so you don't need to build anything without this, but this is how you end up, building that particular problem. Those are some very specific tactics that you can use that'll do that. Now, the second one that I said, remember I said there was a second one to increase your revenue right away?
Yeah.
The second one is increase your pricing. It's called inflation. The rest of the world increases their pricing by at least 2% a year.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you? So have it baked into your contracts, and every year increase your pricing. Absolutely increase it. Grandfathering pricing in is never a good strategy.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it. It's not necessary. If you're adding value and adding features, and if you're truly actually delivering more than you take, then you should have no problem with increasing the pricing over time. And if it's adding value, people do not mind paying more. I'm not saying you should judge people. There's a limit to what you can increase your pricing on.
Yeah.
But or at least have in your agreements, if you're an agency, a pay per performance section, so that as you scale a company and improve their revenue, you get a stake of it, like royalties, right? Because look, if you sign a retainer for $5,000 per month, it's really hard to take them from $5,000 to $10,000. But if you sign a retainer for $5,000 per month, let's say with a law firm, and you say, hey, look, but like that's for a minimum of 200 leads per month type thing. Well, that'll be the minimum we get you. Let's say they were at 120 and you got them to 200, but then let's say you got them 2,000 leads. They're not going to pay you any more money. Yeah. Instead, you got to bake in, hey, if we get you every lead that we get for you above, 200, you're going to pay us an extra $20. Yeah. So if you all of a sudden get them 2,000 leads, right, and do better, you get paid more money. You'll get paid more than that additional $5,000. It's baked in. So you got to think about the end in mind about how you scale together. And a lot of companies get that. They're like, okay, that's fair. Like if you do a better job, you should get paid more. Right? And so have a foundation, but have some sort of upside to get more. Right?
And that's actually a good way of going about it as well, right? Because there's a very fair argument that you can make to your client, saying that, hey, if I guarantee a minimum 200, and if I say, let's say I'm able to reach that 200 within the first week, then I don't have any motivation to continue working for the rest of the 21 days of the month, right?
That's right.
So let's have a minimum, and then on top of that, if I'm performing, then you pay more as per my performance, and so that kind of would work well as well.